Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. Ladder match incoming this afternoon, chaps. Pro level, what else? First of all, though, a couple of quick messages. Firstly, regarding replays. Guys, lots of people sending me in replays via the comment section on YouTube. Cannot stress enough, I cannot guarantee you that I will watch those replays. The admin is just too crazy. If you want me to watch a replay, there are three places that are best to send me those. One, via the Facebook page, either in the private message system there or in the chat on that page. Secondly, you can send it to me on a private message on YouTube, and thirdly, a private message on the FAF forums. Those are the only ways I can guarantee you I will get the replay and watch it. For those of you that don't know how to send in replays, if you would like to, feel you had a good game, all I need to find your replay is the replay ID. What is that, I hear you say? Well, if you go to the replay tab in FAF, go to local replays, find the one you want, right click and go show in Explorer. That will pop up a window and the highlighted file will be the one you want, and that file will have a number for its name. That number is the replay ID, and that is all I need to go find your replay. Essentially, sometimes the replay will be corrupted in the vault. If that is the case, I will ask you in a second reply message to host it either on Mediafire or Dropbox or some other such hosting service, but 9.5 times out of 10 that doesn't happen and everything is fine. Second message, though, coming out to the community. Zock is putting together a little bit of homeschooling FAF or FA for those of you who want to benefit from one of the finest players in the FAF community. He's currently charging €10 per hour. So if you ask me, that's a bargain price to learn from one of the finest players ever to play the game. And he's willing to give you the first lesson for free as well. Can't say fairer than that. So anyway, if you haven't seen him play in the past, A, where have you been? We've covered him so many times. B, this is your chance. We are going to have a ladder match and he's going to feature, and it's all going to go down on Sathira Beach version 2, which is interesting because I didn't know there was a version 1. Anyway, let's see how they're going to get on as we go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Nice one, Gyle. Good stuff. Good stuff there, like it. Okay, let's take a look at our players. First of all, up here at the top in the blue corner, going Cybran rather curiously, it's Voodoo. He's opening first land, and his opponent down here, as we were just mentioning, it's none other than Zock, who's going UEF. So two players playing their opponent's favorite faction, or historically their favorite faction. And he's opening first land. I do know that Zock plays random these days. Whether or not that's the case for Voodoo, I do not know, but it's certainly odd to see these guys set up in this way. Let's take a quick look at the map. You've got a pretty standardized layout of mass points, 4 core and then 4 outer, with the 3 up front ahead, kind of slightly in jeopardy on the approach that your opponent is going to take, 2 in the middle and then 2 more on each of the other 2 side islands out here. So not a ton of mass, but a good decent amount. But there's also a little bit of reclaim up here, some larger rocks, quite tasty, but that is going to be fundamental because there's not a great deal anywhere else. You've got bushes and things, they don't yield very much at all. You've got some rocks back here, but there's not a massive amount to get you set up really, really early on. But Voodoo going a passive expansionist for the moment, just producing engineers. We have got some lab play coming out from Zock, that mech marine making its way across the map as we speak. We also have a little bit of a clue about what Voodoo's strat is on this map. He's working on his 3rd out of 4 planned land factories. That does contrast slightly to Zock, who's gone first land, 2nd air, and is yet to work on his 3rd factory. So Voodoo getting set up on the production side of things a little bit quicker in this one so far. Zock gonna chill here with his mech marine and wait for an engineer to come his way. Some poor engineer's gonna get a horrible surprise. But Zock's also continuing to push forward with a few strikers and a bomber. But ultimately, he's probably going to find himself outgunned on the ground. Engineer picking up, bomber picking up an engineer kill there nice and early on. But Voodoo pushing very strong on the ground indeed. And that bomber picking up its 2nd kill. And now a mech marine up here has found an engineer to grab as well. Voodoo brings that engineer forward, tries to reclaim the mech marine, but alas, doesn't make it in time. 4 kills now on that bomber, who's having a pretty good time of things. No Sky Slammers up front for the moment. Could we see some being produced reasonably soon? Yeah, indeed, one on the way as we speak. It's going to be the only way he's going to be able to combat that is either with static anti-air or mobile anti-air. No air factory, of course, to spit any interceptors out with. And he is indeed trying to throw together a tracer up front, Voodoo. That should be enough to take care of the bomber. Zock needs to turn that bomber around and head for home, but he's not going to do it. That bomber circling, plummets to the earth and bites the dust. Zock coming forward and getting a little bit of a Maginot line here, a little defensive perimeter set up. One unit of PD surrounded by wall sections and a little bit of a defensive wall as well, designed to impede Voodoo's progress. More wall sections planned back here, but Voodoo's got a lot of ground units already in play. Let's take a look at the difference in production capabilities. Voodoo with 5 land factories operational, 2 more on the way, or one started down here, nothing currently working on it. Bomber might have taken out that engineer, and nothing currently working on that one either. I wonder if that's a symbol of that early air harassment we saw, but that compares to 3 land factories, 4 more on the way, and 1 air factory. But for the moment, large numbers on the ground for Voodoo. Zock coming forward with that ACU, blapping away, picking off a couple of units. Voodoo would love to get in here and take out that unit of PD. Has he got any Medusas in here? Well, he's got 1 or 2. But he manages to surround it, and just one quick blap with the overcharge there takes off a chunk of HP, and Zock now finds his ACU surrounded. 1 unit of build capacity out back here, trying to form a second line of fortification, but he's definitely not going to be able to complete that. Zock down into the yellow already, 8,000 hit points. Voodoo also into the yellow, 6,300. This has been a feature recently of Voodoo's play. He's going Rambo an awful lot, which is kind of curious considering he's apparently been picking Cybran a lot as well. Of course, immediately giving up a lot of HP to this UEF ACU here. 2,000 at full health on the unupgraded side of things, but Zock has taken a kicking here. He's down to around 5,200 hit points, eating fire from Voodoo's ACU, the regular cannon and the overcharge there. And Voodoo's overtaken him dramatically. Little ranking veterancy there for Zock, gets him back up to around the 5,000 mark. He's just trying to buy himself time, essentially, for this build capacity to complete this unit of point defense, which they managed to do. And wall sections crucially get deployed, and that's surely going to be enough to force Voodoo to back up. Indeed it is, as we return the game speed to normal. 3,700 hit points left on Voodoo's comm, not an awful lot. Lots of blue reinforcements though, however, streaming down this side of the map. How does that compare in openings en masse? Well, Zock performing better than Voodoo. Voodoo going all-out attack on this one, 33 to 29 in favor of Zock. Let's take a quick look at Reclaim. 665 banked for Zock and 1,200, twice the amount for Voodoo, but still those amounts are fairly nominal. Not, of course, classically a lot of mass to reclaim on this map, as we were saying earlier. Now we have got build capacity, re-establishing the build orders further back on those land factories that were started but not completed. Bombers coming in for Zock, harassing a group of T1 land from Voodoo that's just trying to form a run by here and pick off these outlying mexes. 1 or 2 Sky Slammers in the mix though, making an approach moderately problematic for these bombers, who are focusing on the Medusas, getting the largest threat to those structures out of commission first. Mantis continuing to press, but they're close to the base now, so strikers in ready supply, but large push by Voodoo left of that forward wall. And look at that, that wall section just being recycled now by Voodoo. And Zock finding himself almost encircled at the 8-minute mark on this one. Mexes dropping left, right, and center, and Voodoo's actually managed to gain the advantage on mass purely on map control at this point. Zock is upgrading core mechs as we speak. 1 T2 online. Voodoo sticking at T1 for the moment, relying on larger amounts of captured territory, but Zock has made a play for these two side islands. I wonder if that's going to prove crucial in this one, assuming Voodoo doesn't relinquish pressure on the front lines and go after those side islands. That's going to be another 4 mexes that Zock has under his control, and we've actually got an upgrade nearly complete on Zock's ACU there, and it is the gun upgrade, the ZEF amp on that UEF ACU, dramatically increasing range and damage. But Zock 100% on the defensive here. He's got a decent amount of units in here. Let's see how he actually compares on Striker versus Mantis. 39 Striker there for Zock versus 35 Mantis in the immediate vicinity. 45 total on field. And of course the Strikers with an HP advantage. Both players trying to get together some kind of formation cohesion, present a large straight line onto their opponent, get the most amount of units firing as possible. Zock now finds himself in amongst a group of forward factories belonging to Voodoo, who's taking bomber fire, but it's not enough to really concern him. Those Sky Slammers doing enough to keep him out of harm's way, but Zock, has he pushed too far forward? 6,500 hit points on the commander. 1,000 of those already gone, overcharging as he goes. 53 kills on this comm at present. He's just a snifter away from dropping into the red there. Voodoo going to get an upgrade on that comm as well. And it is strange that Voodoo's selecting Cyber in these good days and elected to go Rambo ACU, as apparently he's doing. Of course, if he's careful with his management of hit points, there is excellent sustain on the Cyber ACU. It does regen quicker than any of the other comms. And once again, Zock getting surrounded by Mantis. First wave pushing on through deeper into Zock's territory, picking off build capacity at first. You get enough units in around the comm, and then you focus fire. Another little run by in around the back. More mechs is getting taken out. Power storage going down. Is that overcharge gone? Yes, it is. Zock no longer has the ability to overcharge. That is bad times when you're surrounded by Mantis. Voodoo nearly complete on that upgrade. Not much going on the side islands. Voodoo just continuing this pressure. Streams and streams of T1 pushing their way up the field. So it does have a decent amount of factories on the go. And some saved up mass as well. How's he been doing on the reclaim side of things? 3,600 for Zock, 4,300 for Voodoo. So despite all of the combat being on Zock's side of the field, Voodoo's actually managing it a little bit better, getting back more of the mass he's putting in than Zock is. Zock on around 5,000 hit points. Another charge from the Cybran forces. Zock backing up into the center of his base, but a crucial rank of veterancy jumps him back up to 6,500. How many ranks is that exactly? Well, can't tell you at the moment. Gaz UI supposedly enabled, but not all the features there. 6,200 hit points on that comm. Voodoo on around the same amount. Far much larger, of course, than Voodoo's. That is why it appears that he's on so much less. But Zock defending like a man possessed as he's absolutely overrun on all angles. And that was the gun upgrade for Voodoo as well on that command. You can see the range he's getting there. And it's vital that Zock doesn't lose factories here. Voodoo starts reclaiming any of these with his commander. He's going to lose production capacity and capability and won't be able to hold off the continuous avalanche of Medusa and Mantis pouring down the center of this. But Voodoo running out of units there in that last attack, not able to come in with the comm and go after the factories. In fact, Voodoo losing one of the forward factories up here. But look at the amount being thrown together. This is mass spam coming out from our Cybrin player here. Another little run by in around the back. Zock repositioning his forces to be able to deal with it. Luckily, he's got a front that's holding up here, dealing with any new reinforcements coming down the center very nicely indeed. Zock doing a lot of reclaiming in the middle. How does things stack up? Well, 6,200 banked for him. Voodoo on 5,000, so Zock has overtaken. He's also in the lead on mass income. Voodoo not developing any of his core mass at the moment. Feels that he's got Zock on the ropes enough. This upgraded mechs down here producing just enough for Zock to stay afloat in this one, despite under very sustained attack here. One more round required on that land factory and it would have gone down. Voodoo changing tack crucially at the last minute and now going after a group of troops to the west. Deciding to come forward with his comp. Still needs to be careful though. Only 6,600 hit points. That could evaporate in a heartbeat. We've got bombers stationed off at one of the side islands and an air factory. Throwing those together from Zock. But Zock suddenly taking a barrage of fire, but again, crucial rank in veterans. He jumps him back up to 6,600. Voodoo just can't get a break here. Another massive overcharge fired into the pack of Mantis, picking up 5 or 6 kills for Zock, easing the pressure once again. Voodoo backing up. 7,000 hit points for him, but suddenly a large rank of veterans. Both of these guys doing so much work with their commander. This really is clash of the Titans on the ground here. Both ACUs alternating between firing on the T1 and firing on their opponent's ACU. But the longer this goes on, it has to start swinging into Zock's favor. Voodoo has kept the pressure up, but he hasn't managed to damage any of the core base or any of the economy for Zock, who's actually starting to pull ahead. A deficit now of, or at last reading, about 11 mass. That might have been based shortly on reclaim, but it's 31 to 25 at the moment in favor of Zock. 10,300 mass banked for Zock in reclaim, 7,300 for Voodoo. Zock on around 4,800 HPs. Voodoo's on less though, 3,000. Continual warfare going on up here, up front. This battle has been seemingly unending for the best part of 15 minutes now. Voodoo needs to be careful, dipping down into the red momentarily. Got to allow that time for the Cybrin ACU regen to come into play. Backing up, eating a little bit of Lobo fire though as he goes. And a lot of bombers over here on the ground that Zock can bring in at any time. Voodoo needs to be really careful. That has to surely be Zock's plan. Whittle Voodoo down if he can and then bring in the bombers to finish him off. Voodoo eating a large amount of fire there. Now we've got triads going up at the front, but he's not able to complete it. A nice overcharge from Voodoo knocks that out of commission. This is nail-biting stuff from these two. But Voodoo on around 1,500 hit points needs to be so careful. If Zock gets wind of just how badly damaged he is, he's going to bring those bombers in and surely finish it off. But there is one triad online in the core base, another on the way, and one or two pillars emerging. So Zock able to scramble tech together in this one despite the pressure, and in come the T1 bombers. Voodoo on just 1,700 hit points. Where's he going? Well, he's moving up to the coastline. A round of bombs goes off and Voodoo goes down to like 120 hit points. Does a quick shuffle there and makes for the water. It's going to be really close. T1 bombers coming back in for Zock. Voodoo gets in under the water, but will the AoE kill him? No, it won't. Oh my goodness. And now bombers getting thinned out by the anti-air defenses, the mobile anti-air on the field for Voodoo. Absolutely nail-biting stuff. 19.5 minutes gone, and it feels like it's been about 40. Bombers coming in now from Zock, looking to put some damage on Voodoo's main base. Don't manage to get any bombs away on that first pass, though. And gonna fall foul of some tracer fire. Voodoo emerges from the water once again. Still needs to be careful. But Zock just looking too strong now on the ground. Pillars moving forward. Surely the wave of Mantis is going to break on those pillars. We've got parashields being constructed. Really trying to get a little bit of a run by in here, but I think his opportunity's passed. He went all out. He hasn't upgraded his eco. He hasn't gone for any tech. He is going for tech at the moment. It's T2 air, so really mixing things up. But how is that going to stand up against the tech on the ground? And will he have the eco to produce anything meaningful? Zock now feeling emboldened by the lack of movement up front from Voodoo. Is going to tentatively counter-attack. He's got a parashield for his comm. That's got to help him a little bit with confidence. Voodoo on around 3,500 hit points. That regen really makes a difference. Emerging from the water there, knows he's got to use his ACU aggressively here if he's going to stop this counter-attack. But he's taking a lot of fire from passing units. Gets a crucial rank of veterancy though, jumps him up to 6,500 hit points. But I don't just see if he's got anything to stop this band of T1 and T2 storming its way up the middle for Zock. He's producing Corsairs, but what he's going to be able to do with them, I don't know. I think Voodoo has been beaten on this one. The all-in T1 spam didn't work, and he finds himself just with nothing left to defend. T1 now rolling into that core base. Build capacity about to get slaughtered around that T2 Air Factory. Voodoo emerges and throws up the surrender. Will we get a comm explosion for good measure? Yes, we will. And if you are ever in doubt as to the skill of Zock and whether or not he was worth investing in some lessons from, well, there you go. A prime example. That was a ferocious assault from Voodoo, but he held his nerve and managed to break that formation coming down the center and counterattack, while at the same time out-ecoing and upgrading. Phenomenally well done from both those players. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. As always, more to come from me in the future. In the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle, signing out.